presenters, Spectrum, for inviting me, and the honour of being awarded here tonight. At LanzaTech, we're developing a gas fermentation technology. Gas fermentation, so everybody knows what fermentation is. Yeah? Fermentation is the process by which we feed yeast, an organism, sugars, and that yeast eats the sugar and produces ethanol and other compounds. Gas fermentation is where we feed an organism gases, carbon dioxide and hydrogen-containing gases, and that organism again produces ethanol, and ethanol can be used for fuels, but it can also produce a bunch of chemicals. So at LanzaTech we're focused on gas fermentation, and the reason to focus on gas fermentation is because there's a problem that we're looking to solve. And the problem is sort of captured here. Today, we are dependent on oil. Yeah? The vast majority of our fuel is derived from oil. Oil is the feedstock for the production of most of our chemicals. And that seems okay, but actually there's a problem. The problem is that when you combust oil and its derivatives, when you refine oil and when you combust the derivatives of oil, you release CO2. CO2 accumulates in the atmosphere, and the accumulation of CO2 in the atmosphere is leading to severe global environmental, human health, and economic problems. The only alternative we have today for the production of fuels from oil, the only sustainable alternative we have for the production of fuels from oil is actually the production of fuels from food resources, such as sugars from sugarcane or starches from, for example, maize or corn. And I think we're naive if we think that's sustainable in the context of the fact that our population is growing. The demand for oil will double in the next 40 years. In that same time frame, the population of the Earth is expected to increase from 7 billion today to 8 billion at that time. So using food resources isn't really a sustainable solution to our current problem, our current challenge of being dependent on oil. And therefore what we need is new feedstocks from which we can produce fuels and chemicals. And we believe gas fermentation can play a part in allowing access to new feedstocks from which we can produce fuels and chemicals. We actually founded the company not on the basis of a technology, but on the basis of a question. What is a good feedstock from which you can produce fuels and chemicals sustainably? And the answer to that question we described here. We came up with 5 characteristics, if you like, for an ideal feedstock. An ideal feedstock had to be one that was available today. You don't need to have to rely on it to be produced. It's available now, and we can produce things from it now. It's available in high volume. It's available in high volume because we need to produce fuels and chemicals in extreme volumes in order to sate global demand. It has to be point sourced because the cost associated with transporting feedstocks is actually extremely prohibitive. It has to be low value because we're looking to produce fuels and chemicals at a cost that's affordable, and of course they can't compete with food. And that's what gas fermentation allows access to. Gas fermentation allows access to resources such as off-gases from industrial processes that are available at large volumes in single locations, that are low value, and that of course you can't eat. It allows access to municipal solid waste, it allows access to residual biomass, natural gas, etc. So a large spectrum of potential resources that we can use for the production of fuels and chemicals. And that's the basis of our technology. So we focused on gas fermentation, not because we developed a technology that was looking for application. We focused on gas fermentation because it allowed us access to resources that we thought could scale in a realistic and meaningful way to allow the supply of food, to allow the supply of fuel and chemicals into this extraordinarily fast-growing market.